Shabbat Shalom, y'all. I actually have Shabbat this Friday. Didn't have to work. So yeah, I don't know. I was gonna be plucky and get out, and then I had some disconcerting news that sort of worried me about someone that I care about today. So I just was kind of like, woof, you know. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll just relax and be contemplative instead, and maybe enjoy a bath or something like that. Did some prayer and things, but that just kind of takes it out of me a little bit. I feel emotional like that, so wasn't feeling like painting the town red anymore, that's for sure. I'm getting over a cold, so I have a Ricola in my mouth, and so excuse me for that. I know it's annoying, but we're just gonna like go with it. So moving forward. All right. So today we are here talking about our cards that we pulled earlier on Instagram. If you don't already, you can go follow me there at Liz_Taylor_Magick. Magic with the CK, like this channel. I think that there's a link in my description box below. I think I've added that in. And yeah, so I wrote up a thing about it, which I do early in the day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, before we get on here for the video. But yeah, so to continue that discussion, we pulled Release from the Vintage Wisdom Oracle, followed by Compassion, followed by Intuition, and then underneath that we had the Magician, followed by King of Pentacles, followed by Page of Pentacles. All right, so immediately I just felt like with Release being crowning the Magician, I felt like right now we're in a moment where we're in this like initiation portal, and we're standing here with all the elements available to us. We have everything that we need as the Magician. We have our material elements. We have our mindset right, and our intentions clear, and we're focused, right? We're emotionally sober, but like passionate about what we're doing. We have drive. We have faith in what we're doing. But what we're being asked to do right now is incorporate, like, let spirit come in and take hold. Because right now we are wielding the 4 elements, but we're resisting spirit by not being in a state of surrender. So we're doing everything we can over here. And the final piece, which you see in a star in the pentacle, it's 5 points, right? We have 4 here. We have 4 elements. 4 elements in the star, but the 5th one is spirit. And so in order to do that, in order to incorporate spirit, we have to get out of the way. We have to surrender. We have to have trust. We have to have faith. And so what that looks like is we have to release our judgments. We have to release our expectations. We have to release our attachments. We have to release our worries, our fears, our concerns. We have to release our ego's agenda. We have to release all of our agendas, right? You know, even when we care about a loved one who's sick, you know, if their time has come, there's nothing we can do to fight that, right? And it's hard. It's hard to let go. You know, when my best friend died several years ago in an accident, it was so tragic, and it was so unexpected. And that was when I really learned radical acceptance, because I could still be fighting against how unfair it all is now and really be suffering and really have suffered. I mean, like the pain you can't avoid. But I think that the pain I felt was so acute, so great, that I knew I didn't have any more strength to fight. It was a futile battle, right? I just surrendered, I was completely broken. My ego had no energy to resist the reality of what was, something that I couldn't change. So yes, in order to truly manifest our desire or walk into those next chapters of our lives and pass these initiations, is to bring all the elements with us and have the confidence and assurance, in the value and in the self-worth and our confidence, but also knowing that we can't do it without spirit with us, without the support of spirit, right? And so that is something that should be liberating to us, that we aren't in it alone, that we have someone or a power greater than ourselves that's assisting us, that's there with us, that's guiding us, that's supporting us. And that, yes, it is up to us, but we do have, someone is at our back, right? As we're being pushed forward, training wheels off, right? Someone's running alongside of us. So it's not all up to us, right? And so it's hard to surrender that control, because we have to let go of our illusion that our grip on it is going to give us any real say if the fates come in, It's like we think if we don't let go, we won't lose something that we cherish, or that we're attached to, right? But it doesn't matter. If life decides to pull something from our, white-knuckled grip, it will pull it from our grip. There's nothing that we can do anyway. So we're only ever being asked to release the illusion of control, because we don't have any. But it's our free will to believe and make believe that we do. And so that's the sacrifice that we have to make, is to give up that control and trust that the universe, that spirit, that source, that God actually wants us to have everything, and true and deep fulfillment, and all the things that are put in our heart that are of pure desire, that were put there for a reason, for a purpose. And so to trust that we can hand that over, knowing that it might be taken away from us, knowing that we might be asked to give it up, or maybe that we'll have it forever. But I mean, everything has a shelf life. Everything has an expiration date in this world, So things come and go, and we can volunteer to embrace that truth and live with it, or we can fight against it our whole life. And that's true for an opportunity, for people, for experiences, for moments. It's like people get stuck in that whole I was, the this and that during this point of their life, whether it be they peaked in a moment in high school where they had this special moment, or in college, or maybe when they lived in another city or another country for a period of time. It's sometimes people get stuck in that time period, that idea of themselves. Maybe people get stuck in an idea of what kind of person they are, and these kinds of people do these things, and and only those kind of people do those things, so we have to let go of those ideas, right? Free ourselves from all of it. So release. Let go of the past, to move forward. Forgive, because forgiving cuts the strings that hold us where we are. Whether you're forgiving a debt that you think somebody owes you, right? It's like when you give someone something with an expectation, with a string attached, it's like you're stuck to that person with energy, with that expectation. When you had unmet expectations that were maybe never communicated or voiced, or you feel like you haven't it's like, I want to say you haven't received the closure that you need, but I feel like people need to give themselves closure and not look to other people to give it to them. I think that the rite of passage, when you're looking for closure from someone, I think that the universe is usually asking you to be able to walk away without it. Sometimes. So yeah, forgive. Stop looking back. Allow yourself to move forward. Allow there to be a clean slate. Allow grace to come and give credit for a new day. This is a new cycle. These are new cycles starting. So, this was followed by compassion, right? Grace, compassion, forgive, move forward. All of these experiences have hopefully served to open our heart, right? To start breaking down the walls that we put up in defense for whatever reason. Sometimes we defend ourselves against things that we fear. Sometimes we fear things so much that we build a defense mechanism even around the fear of those things, and those become prejudices. Sometimes we fear love. Sometimes we fear things being better. Sometimes we fear goodness. Sometimes we fear peace. Sometimes we fear being in the quiet and stillness. Sometimes we fear being alone with our own selves, with our own thoughts. So hopefully the more that we release these shells of like darkness and negativity and chains that bound us in like suffering and these dark patterns that have had so much control over our thoughts and our feelings and our hearts, and it affects the way we live and move and have our being in the world, right? And it's like we want to get rid of all that so that we can feel safe to open our hearts again with compassion. As that fear melts away, it's like you're not triggered, you're not on the defense, you're not so on guard anymore. You're not looking to blame or like strike before you're struck. So you've softened. And when your heart breaks, it doesn't just break only, when you're sad or hurt anymore. It can break for the world. It can break for others because you have compassion. But like you have to, like, in order to have compassion, it means that you're vibrating with compassion. So it's coming and going both ways. So you have to have compassion with yourself, and that has to extend out to have compassion for others. And so I think that this crowns the King of Pentacles, because the more compassionate that we become and the more we release this old stuff from the past, I think that the more grounded and secure we become on the outside as well. We become more secure in ourselves and stable. And so we feel safer to show compassion. But I think the more that we feel secure and stable on the inside, the more that we open our heart up to compassion, the more it opens our heart up more. And so our heart, when our heart's closed down, it's closed down to inspiration, it's closed down to magnetism, it's closed down to abundance, it's closed down to fertility, it's closed down to growth, opportunity, things that you feel love and passion, about. So it's shutting all of that out. And so compassion actually opens you up, like an attitude of sharing opens you up to more abundance, because it opens the heart. You're not shutting out, you're opening the vessel. The heart is a magnet, so you're radiating the highest vibration, which is caring generosity. And so it's opening up more material security, more peaceful stability in your life on the inside, but it's also starting to reflect in your outer kingdom as well. So your kingdom is in order. You know, I'm thinking about King Arthur at the Round Table, where everyone was equal. And the whole thing about Camelot was that archetypally, at a mythical level, it represented like the Hebrew concept of justice, which is that it's equitable for everyone, that there's enough to go around for everyone, that everyone has their needs met. And so that if everyone's needs are met, then everyone is set up for success, and everyone's success begets everyone else's success, and everyone is set up to thrive. And so the kingdom is happy, and they're feasting, and they're thriving in peace, in unity. And so that is what you're having on the inside now. These governing forces that have been in opposition and out of balance are coming into balance. And they're finding stability there and consistency. And so it's building stability and consistency and security in your outer world as well. And attracting more in, because the Page of Pentacles comes with an opportunity, a lesson to learn, maybe with a message, or maybe with an invitation. Maybe life is going to invite you into an opportunity that's going to teach you a lot. And so the Page of Pentacles is the enthusiastic, inquisitive student. The Page of Pentacles was also crowned by intuition. So I feel like the more we open our heart and the more it's cleansed with compassion, the more clarity we have when discerning our intuition, when it speaks, rather from our ego or fear. So as we're discerning our intuition, where we're being led and guided by that higher power, by the Holy Spirit, by that voice from within the heart, from within that heart space. That whole space is opening up, right? And activating the heart chakra, which is that bridge, that connector to the Holy Spirit, to source, right? To our higher self. And so as we are, going through this process, we're getting more and more and more in tune with our intuition. And chances are you are going to be having some dreams that are going to leave you with impressions when you wake up. So it's going to be good for you to pay attention when you wake up to your first initial impressions of that dream and what the themes were that you woke up remembering. Usually, there's like that one or two taglines from the dream that you can remember. And then a feeling, you kind of have a feeling or a sense about it. Like it sits with you and you're like, oh, I feel like it made me think of this, or it made me feel this way, or whatever. So pay attention to those things. And then, are there any things in the dream that stand out that mean anything to you personally or specifically, that have specific, unique meaning? Because I feel like we build our own lexicon with spirit, and it gets wider and wider, the vocabulary that we can work with. But there are also like universal symbols and archetypal symbols that we can go back to and draw from and see what resonates. And so for me, one of the best dream interpretation sources online that I've found that are like right in alignment with everything that is like happening in my dream and what's going on in my life is dreammoods.com. And it's like the weirdest, oldest, dysfunctional, like crap website. It's been under construction now for I think 10 years. Just use the A through Z dream dictionary part and type in or you can go through a list. It's like a dream dictionary, and the things that are listed are already in there. And yeah, it has the most random things. You'll be shocked, but I like to use that website. But I would say pay attention to your dreams, because I think that you're going to be really guided, and you're learning as a student how to discern and decipher your intuition. And you're getting really good at it. But continue to follow up on checking into your dreams and what they mean, because I think that Spirit is going to be sending us messages and confirmation and synchronicities through our dreams, especially if you pray out loud before you go to sleep and set that intention that you want spiritual guidance before you go to sleep. Like, please, Holy Spirit or spirits of, for my highest good here, only of love, like, speak to me through my dreams for my highest good, to guide me and lead me, so that I can align with the divine path set out for me in my life. That's going to be the most fulfilling, and it's going to fulfill the most light on behalf of the Creator in this world, right? And that could be through anything. Like, you can fulfill the light of the Creator by being a comedian and just like calling it like it is and letting people laugh and helping people not feel alone. You can be, shining your light the greatest, as the Creator's radiance, just being a really amazing hairdresser and like making people look their best. Like, you have your own unique skills and personality and interests and natural talents for a reason. And so it doesn't mean that you have to like if you want to be a pop star, doesn't mean that you have to be like a Christian pop star. You can just be a pop star. You know what I mean? Like, be who you are, the way you are, for a reason. Like Justin Bieber, right? He's not like trying to be the gospel singer, right? But he like does make a good impression on the world. Like, he has positive things to say and he inspires people. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can be who you came here to be. There's a lot of amazing, edgy characters in this world. I fucking love Cher. She is such a bitch. She's amazing. She's so powerful. Who doesn't love Cher? She's so strong. She's so like assured and like sure of herself. It's amazing. She's like a goddess amongst women. Amazing. Love Cher. Would not change her for anything. Cardi B. Girl, keep being ratchet. I love you. Never change, right? She is here to be her radiant self. There's this archetype of the sacred fool, right? There's a purpose for all these people doing, these things. But you have to be true and authentic, right? You can't just be like trying to put things on and make it work. It has to be real, right? But that's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing on this channel. We're trying to shed anything that's not authentic about us so that we can be our true selves, right? So yeah, I feel really good about this. I also feel like there could be, in literal terms, just looking at these characters, there could be a message from a King of Pentacles, if you're the Magician. And if so, I would say have a patient, warm, and listening ear, err on the side of kindness and compassion, and just practice restriction. Restrain yourself and don't act in reactivity, whether it's out of anger or excitement. Pause, tune in with source before you go forward with anything, right? But be compassionate. Don't give anybody the business. Don't be demanding or anything. Just be an open vessel. Be a good listener. Be a warm, receptive person. Use your intuition. All right. I think that is it for today. I hope y'all have a good rest of your night. Good rest of the weekend. Good luck out there. I hope you have peace and release. Ciao.